Hey everybody, it's Kyle with our Bike Channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the AntiGravity Restart batteries. Stick around. As we get started here, let me just get one thing out of the way. This is not a paid review in any way. I don't show products on my channel that I haven't used and tested thoroughly and that I don't trust. This product is something that has been in this bike for several months and I do trust. And if you want to buy one of these things as a result of this video, you can go to antigravitybatteries.com right now and use the checkout or the discount code or the coupon code at the end, DBC Kyle, when you're checking out. That will give you 10% off your order and it will give me a kickback for helping to educate you guys and say, hey, this is a product that I really, really like. So this thing is on the charger. She's almost full here. Let's get into the video and talk about why I like this thing and why I trust it. So in today's day and age of every manufacturer wants to strip the kickstarters off bikes and only have electric start, it poses some problems for some of us guys that are getting a little bit further out away and doing some of the more soft enduro or hard enduro stuff way out in the boondocks away from the trucks. The manufacturers think that you're never more than like 100 yards from your truck, and so they've taken kickstarts off batteries a lot, and it becomes a big problem for guys like me, especially if you're running a radiator fan or some other electronic thing on your bike that's going to draw power down and potentially leave you stranded. So we're always kind of looking for solutions and different things we can do to kind of mitigate risk and make sure that we can get back to the truck. And this anti-gravity battery is something that I'm really excited about talking to you guys about. This is a lithium iron phosphate battery or a LiFePO4 battery, and AntiGravity has this. The model that I've tested, two of these batteries, is the ATZ7 with restart technology. Now it has 150 cold cranking amps, and these batteries are phenomenal. So essentially the main thing in this, and we'll get into a little bit more of this, is it's got a battery management system that will put the battery to sleep if the voltage becomes too low for it to start, or if the voltage is becoming dangerously low to where the battery could be permanently damaged. It'll put the battery to sleep and you can restart it just by pushing the button on the top of the battery, which then gives you enough power to start the vehicle, start the bike, start whatever. Even if you had this in your truck or your boat, you could start the bike, start it again by waking up the battery and hitting the button to restart it. Since I'm riding bikes that don't have backup kickstarters, if for some reason my stator went out or some reason like the radiator fan or something else was drawing my battery dead, or maybe you've got a GPS unit or something that's drawing your battery dead and you don't know about it, then your bike wouldn't start. You'd be able to take your seat off in this case and push the restart button. As you can see, I've drilled out a little hole on the top of my battery bracket on this KTM here so that I can get access to this restart button while it's still installed on the bike. So for me, these batteries are just a little bit of added insurance that I'm not going to get stranded out there in the middle of nowhere. So let's go through some of the pros and cons of why you might want to run a battery like this. Number one pro is that it monitors the voltage and the battery goes to sleep if it gets too low. We've already kind of talked about that, but then you can just hit the button on the top and you can restart it. So it's saving you from having a dead battery and not knowing anything about it. Now, once the battery voltage, so if you restarted it and your bike began to charge again, you'd be good to go. If the bike is not charging, it'll continue to go to sleep on this battery until finally it won't wake up anymore. But hopefully you're able to get back to the truck before you get that low. Another pro for this is it's very lightweight. This thing weighs almost nothing and it's much, much lighter than the old lead acid batteries. So a lot of bikes are coming with like a lithium battery of some kind. This is a fantastic battery. I think the best battery that I've seen on the market, and it weighs almost nothing. Another good benefit is it's got 150 cranking amps. That is very, very good. And so this will turn your bike over exceptionally well. Another benefit is that these have quite a bit of a long lifespan, especially if you compare this to like a lead acid style battery. Because those batteries, they seem to only have a shelf life of about a year or two if you're lucky, especially if you're not using it a lot. That's where the battery management system comes in really key on this, is it can kind of monitor the voltage and put the battery to sleep before it actually goes into too low of a state. So this battery should last you quite a bit longer than a traditional lead acid style battery. One other final pro that I have on this is they have four terminals on this guy, so you can mount it in the bike one way or flip it around 180 degrees to mount it the other way. It comes in very, very common sizes for typical batteries. So this battery here that I've got, the ATZ7, will probably work in most of your dirt bikes out there. And because you can, have the negative and positive on either side by flipping it around, it'll basically fit in just about any bike that it fits in all the bikes that I have right here. So let's talk about some of the cons, because this doesn't come without cons. I'd say the first con is that you're probably going to need a special battery charger that you do not already have. The one that AntiGravity Batteries recommends, and the one that I bought, is actually the C-Tech Lithium US. I bought it on AntiGravityBatteries.com and it costs about $85 plus shipping. But it is a phenomenal battery charger that has the right electronics in there to make sure that you don't damage this battery. You can't really just use a lead acid style battery on this thing and expect to have good results. So I would definitely recommend that you buy the C-Tech Lithium US charger. You can get it from AntiGravity Batteries. I think you can also get it on Amazon, but that is one that you definitely want to get. One other thing I should note is that this battery actually charges very perfect, just fine under the vehicle's battery system, charging system. So in your dirt bike, this thing will charge perfectly. If you had it in a boat, if you had it in a car, this will charge just perfect on the vehicle. It's just that you need that special charger when you're charging off of an AC outlet or, a wall outlet in your house. But it charges just perfect when it's in the bike, in the machine, whatever it is. Another con of this battery is it's relatively expensive. So this battery at the time I'm doing this video is $129.99, so $130. So that's more expensive than some of the other batteries out there. But in this case, I do believe that you are getting what you pay for. And this is really actually quite cheap insurance to make sure that your bike is going to start properly out there on the trails. To me, this is actually one of those things that is worth it if you're going to depend on this, which we do when we're out there on the trails. One last kind of con to this thing is it doesn't work that well in cold weather, at least not until the battery warms up. So if you're trying to ride out there in 30-degree Fahrenheit weather or 0 degrees Celsius or something, this is not going to have a lot of cold cranking amps until the battery warms up. One nice thing though about a battery like this, a lithium iron phosphate battery, is it will generate its own heat. So if you can hit the starter for 3 or 4 seconds and then wait for 10 seconds and then hit the starter again, wait for another 10 or 15 or 20 seconds, and it will build up heat inside the battery, and the voltage, the cranking amps will actually come up. So I haven't experienced any times when a battery like this battery or a battery like it wouldn't actually start my bike, especially if you're keeping it on a battery tender or something when we're dealing with cold weather. But it is something to just be aware of. So again, I've been testing these batteries for a few months and I do trust them. This is the best battery that I have seen yet. It is the battery that I trust the most to have in my bikes when it really, really counts. I put this in my Yamaha dirt bike that was kind of a slow starter. I've got it in my KTM over here that's a slow, not a slow starter, but a bike that I use for hard enduro. And I'm going to put it in my Sherco as well, because the Sherco is a little bit more of a hard starting bike for me to kind of get it going. And so this is kind of my go-to battery, the AntiGravity ATZ7 with restart technology battery. I really, really like that. Well, thanks for watching, guys. That pretty much wraps up this video. If you are looking for probably the best battery out there on the market and something that gives you the peace of mind of knowing that it'll put itself to sleep before it goes all the way dead, check out the AntiGravity lithium ion phosphate batteries. I'm using the ATZ7 because it fits in basically all of my bikes. Super lightweight, super awesome. Go to AntiGravityBatteries.com and use the coupon code DDCKyle on checkout. That's what I've got for you guys. Hopefully you learned something in this video, and AntiGravity batteries, man, it's the real deal. Leave a single track. Thanks.